Hello YouTube, this is TyranitarNom, and got another battle against a serebii kid, HumanShoe. And this is a nice battle. It's a good display of my new balance team. And basically what it is my lead is a Deoxys S, which is not banned yet. May not even be banned, maybe OU. But what it does is first turn, generally, I gauge the situation, and it'll probably be, I normally trick. And when I trick, the opponent will, when it uses a setup move, since I'm faster, it's stuck in there. So now his Swampert has a choice scarf, and then I'm free to set up my stealth rocks. I also have spikes, but I did not know what, I didn't want this Rankarusu to set up. So I used extreme speed to see what it did, and then he toxicked me, which is no big deal, considering the fact that my Deoxys, after it sets up rocks and sometimes spikes, all it does is come back in, extreme speed, and get right back out. So, yeah. He's death fodder for right now, so I don't need him. He'll come back in later. But I go into my Lucario, which is nasty applying Lucario, and people don't normally expect that. And so I go into it knowing that he's more his Rankarusu is more defensively bulky than special bulky, so I get a nasty plot off when he switches into his Swampert. But then I'm fearing the Earthquake, so I go into my Balloon Shandera, which is great, because it has the immunity to ground and fire because of flash fire and the fact that it's holding a balloon. So I predict the switch back to Rankarusu, and I get the Shadow Ball, which is really nice because those things are a bitch to take out, to put it bluntly. And so then he goes into Sazendora, and I go for the Shadow Ball to take out his Rankarusu, and he switches into a Sazendora, which resists it. Although it does a lot because of Shandera's great special defense. And so I go into my Chansey to take the special attack, and does a lot of damage compared to what I thought it would do. It brings me down to about almost half after Stealth Rocks, and he goes back into his Swampert, which is, remember, it's Choice Scarfed, and I get the Seismic Toss off. I have no idea what it's going to do, so I protect to see what it does, and it does Roar, which is confusing. So I get the Toxic off and let it roar me away. The only thing that could kind of get hurt by Stealth Rocks is my Shandera, which gets switched into. And now it's around 50% HP, so I'm a little worried. I don't really want to take the Roar, but I'm sure he's afraid that I'm going to use the Energy Ball, so I predicted the switch back into his Rankarusu and use Shadow Ball. But he stays in and takes a Shadow Ball and does not die, which sucks. So all that's left is his Swampert, and I don't really want my Deoxys to die. And he's got like 1 HP left after Toxic, so I extreme speed it. So it's now his Swampert's dead. And I've got Toxic, but I've also got leftovers, thanks to his Swampert when I tricked it. So he goes back into his Rankarusu. I can't do anything. I can't kill that, even with an extreme speed, Adamant Nature. So I go back into Shandera, take the... hopefully he wasn't going to attack me this turn, because I knew I would die, because of he's got bad defense and special defense in case of the Psycho Shock or Shadow Ball. And so I just take the Shadow Ball and hope to see how much I can do to it. And then he goes for the Psychic, and I die, which is okay because, I mean, Shandera was death fodder. I need to learn to keep my Shandera longer, which is, I lose a bunch of matches because I lose my Shandera pretty early because I fodder it in bad situations. But this match wasn't the case. And so then I go into my Lucario and just get off a quick Shadow Ball, even unboosted. With Life Orb, that's enough to take it out with that little HP that it has left. And so he goes into his Infernape, and then I go into Deoxys to take the Flare Blitz or whatever. He's pretty much fodder, and he goes for the U-turn, which isn't too big of a deal. I figured, I mean, maybe if I survived whatever he was going to dish out at me, I could extreme speed, but that wasn't the case, and he's down, which is not too bad because I get to see what he switches into, and I get to switch in when I want to. Here I should have nasty plotted, but I mistakenly thought that he was going to do something else. So I went for the Vacuum Wave. It does nothing to his probably especially defensive Zapdos. And I'm worried this thing's going to Heat Wave me, so I switch out and I go back into Dirty Whore, my Evostone Chansey, to take the Heat Wave. But instead he roosts that 2 HP that it has. I don't know, I guess he was going to think I was going to attack. And then he Toxics me, which is no big deal, considering the fact that I Wish here, and I have Natural Cure. So if I really wanted to, I could Protect and do whatever I want to him. So here I stay in, knowing I can't die, even after a critted T-Bolt, which is the worst case scenario and happens to me. And then I go for the Toxic, and it misses. And I'm like, God damn it. So I have to, I'm going to switch out here. And I go into What a Prick to take the Thunderbolt. And then I'm going to switch back into my Chansey to take the Heat Wave that is coming next. because, you know, predictions pro. And I get my leftovers, and he takes, like, no damage. Notori hasn't done jack in any of my recent battles, so it's not that big of a deal, even if he gets hurt or killed. And then Zapdos goes for the Heat Wave, as called, and I have enough health left, and my Toxic is gone. So I get to get off my Toxic, and then I get to Wish. And he switches out, I get a free Wish, and goes into Infernape. I'm worried about... see here, if I still had my Shandera, I would be able to absorb both his close combat and his Flare Blitz, which would have been really nice, but that's not the case. So I figured Death Fodder, maybe I could survive a close combat, but he switches and goes into Zapdos, I guess predicting the Toxic. I'm not really sure, but his Zapdos goes for the Roost. I go for the Seismic Toss, which will do a little less than how much he just roosted off. And then Toxic, he has leftovers, but then Toxic damage will get rid of that health he just got back. And he Toxics me again. Not quite sure why he would do that. I predicted the switch, because I mean, who wants to try and stall out a Chansey? Outstalling a Chansey is like outstalling, I don't know, Blissey in 4th gen. It's not even possible. It's even more impossible because of the Evo Stone giving 50% boost to both defenses. And I do some stuff. And his Zapdos is practically dead, so I switch out, predicting the T-Bolt, and go into Notori, and he roosts. And I predict another roost, because toxic damage is going to do a lot here. So he's going to need to roost if he wants to get off and move next time. So I go for the spikes, I guess. No big deal. Just get some stuff up. So, yep, he goes for the roost. It was a good predict by me, and I get some spikes up. 1 row. No big deal, but that'll do some damage to whatever he switches into afterwards, as long as it's not flying. So now I know the Heat Wave is imminent because he has, like, full health. Well, not really. He just got half from Toxic. So I go back into Chansey. Toxic is now gone, but Stealth Rocks hurts me. But I can take the Heat Wave because I'm especially bulky as fuck. So I take that. Toxic damage does an ass load. And he switches. I protected, knowing that Toxic would kill him the next turn. And he goes back into Infernape, who after Stealth Rock damage and Rock or Spike damage, he's down to 50%. And then I go into Notori so we can get some Iron Thorns, whatever, Steel Thorn damage, because this Infernape could kill me in every single possible way if I do not whittle him down, so that I can vacuum wave him with my Lucario, which is really all I can do. Then he goes into Zapdos, goes for Death Fodder. Down goes Zapdos. He knows I'm going to vacuum wave. And here, the Latios, I know I can live at least 1 Thunderbolt. Or, no, I mean, not 1 Thunderbolt. I Death Fodder, I guess. No, I don't. I have no idea what I did. But then here comes the most awesome part of this entire battle. I have a choice. This is a choice banded Weavile. Thank you, Lunar Eclipse, for the set. And because it's a choice banded set, it will take out this Infernape here. So this is its 2nd casualty. And all he has left is a Sazendora, which will die because of rock damage and ice shard damage, which is great. It's a great mon. I'm looking forward to using it. So, yep, that's my balance team. Comment, rate, subscribe. See yous alls laters.